I remember praying and just saying, Lord, did we do something wrong?
September 11th, 2021 was supposed to be a celebration, the day Melanie Fox was to get married. Instead, her 56-year-old fiancé, Michael, was in a hospital bed fighting for his life. Their meeting and engagement had been an answer to prayer, one Melanie now doubted.
Do you not want us to get married? I was starting to question everything. And I said, Lord, do you not love us anymore?
2 weeks before the wedding, Michael contracted COVID. Within days, he was in the hospital with double pneumonia and his oxygen levels had plummeted. According to the doctor's report, his was an extremely unfortunate situation with evidence of continued worsening.
The pulmonologist did come in one day, and he just kind of stood at the end of the bed and shook his head. And I just looked at him and I said, it's not good, is it? And he said, no. You may want to let his family know that this looks pretty hopeless at this point.
Michael's oldest son, Robbie, saw it differently. He was one of many who filled the hospital waiting room praying for his dad.
I knew he would walk out of there. I knew at the beginning he would.
However, things would only get worse. Over the coming week, Michael would have a stroke and develop sepsis, the leading cause of death in hospitals. Then, his kidneys began to shut down. Even after several rounds of antibiotics, nothing was working.
And I know that you said, Lord, that we would be together, so I don't understand. And there were times when I honestly was so numb.
Then, another setback. As medical staff were prepping Michael for dialysis, one of his lungs collapsed. Trying to avoid putting him on a ventilator, they decided first to increase his oxygen and wait to see if that would work. Melanie and Michael's youngest son, John, were waiting in the hallway.
And he looked at me and he said, my dad needs a miracle. And I said, yes, he does. And I said, John, why don't you ask God to give him that miracle? And so he just looked up and he said, God, my dad really needs a miracle right now.
Outside, the hospital parking lot was packed with people also believing for a miracle.
God has the final say. Doctors are great. They've really helped out a lot, and their hands are guided, but they don't always have the final say in things.
Within the hour, Michael's oxygen levels had risen and his lungs reinflated, so he didn't need a vent. Not only that, his kidneys began to recover.
They said he doesn't need the dialysis. His markers are up, he's good, everything's great, and even the sepsis is gone.
Soon after, they were able to bring Michael out of sedation. But he wasn't waking up, and doctors cautioned the family about getting their hopes up. The stroke could have long-term, serious consequences.
And I remember just looking up and saying, Lord, I don't know what's going on and I don't understand, but I trust you.
Finally, Michael woke up. His first words? The same ones he had said to Melanie right after he was admitted to the hospital.
I said, you're gonna look beautiful in your wedding dress, because I knew, number one, that I was gonna see that because the Lord showed it to me, but I also knew that that would bring comfort to her.
I thought, okay, Lord, he said I was gonna be beautiful in my dress, so I know that he's gonna make it through.
Michael began to improve and eventually was sent to rehab. He had been in the hospital 43 days when he was discharged. Although it would take months of rehab to overcome the effects of his stroke, there was one thing Michael wasn't waiting for.
Oh, I had a lot of challenges because I came home in a wheelchair and I could barely get from the car to the wheelchair. And so that was on October the 12th, I believe. And on October the 17th, I determined I was going to walk down the aisle to marry my wife.
And he did. With prayer and rehab, Michael has fully recovered. The happy couple and their families are enjoying every minute they have together, thankful for the miracle God has given them.
I had a lot of people praying for me. I'm going to tell you that prayer was was heard by the Lord. I know it was. Because it not only gave me strength, but it gave Melanie strength.
He's always there. He's got us, God's got us. Even in the hardest times.
He says he'll never leave us. He'll never forsake us. So even if it looks like it's just hopeless and it's the end and it's going to be over and done, you know that he's not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you.